eBay, the online auction site where you can buy other people's unwanted stuff. But there's a dark side of eBay because for every super cool item someone's trying to sell, someone else is selling something insane. And not a little bit insane, I'm talking full-on mental breakdown insane. Now, over the last year, I've stumbled across a lot of weirdness on the website, and so I've bought some items, and now I guess it's time to show you my haul. From super expensive Cheetos to haunted paintings, and God, I can't believe I'm about to say this, Guardians of the Spirit Realm. Let's take a look at my eBay haul well, I don't even know at this point. Food. Glorious food. eBay's food listings are something I simply can't fathom. If you're selling some assorted packaged snacks or drinks for a couple of dollars, sure, fine. But if you're selling a McDonald's chicken nugget in the shape of an Among Us character for $750, are you okay? I'd be lying if I said I didn't make an offer, but sadly this listing got taken down, or might have actually sold, not too long after I did. Scrolling further, I found pistachio nutshells for $1,000. I added this to my Save This Insanity for Later list, but when I went back to it, it had sold. So I went looking for even more weird shaped food. Oh, that didn't take long. Okay, this one is just ominously titled Food, and the description says it's an Illuminati-shaped Asda Dorito. Interesting way of saying a tortilla chip with a hole in it. And all for $630. Man, you really can sell anything for any price you want here, huh? Okay, that's a flaming hot Cheeto in the shape of Elvis Presley for $100,000? Now, I like Elvis, but even I can't see much of a resemblance here. But this, on the other hand, this is amazing. A Cheeto shaped like the Madonna and Child. My God! And all just for $142.78? Compared to Elvis and the Nug, this is practically a bargain. So, I bought it. Let's find out what a $140 Cheeto looks like. Ooh, lovingly packaged in toilet paper there. It's significantly less orange than the pictures. Man, how long has this thing been listed for? I thought about having a nibble to be sure, but before I did, I spotted another Cheeto listing that hit me right in the nostalgia. It was shaped like Jeffrey the Giraffe, the old Toys R Us mascot. The resemblance was uncanny, so yes, while it was listed for $500, I offered $20 and got it. And boy, am I glad I didn't pay $500 for this. That is practically beige. The white spots are paler than my own skin. Okay, well, the description of this was very clear, do not eat, so I guess I'll display it. Nice. Really ties the room together. Big Bran. Alright, so I wasn't successful in getting everything I wanted to buy. Case in point, this. This is a bran flake. A giant bran flake. 7.3 centimeters by 8.6 centimeters to be precise. Which someone decided was so impressive that they should frame it, then sell it for $207,000. Considering a whole box of bran flakes costs about $2.60, this one mega flake was being sold at 79,615 times that. And the description was eclectic. I discovered the elephantine edible on a crisp winter morning whilst pouring out my least favorite breakfast cereal, aka Torture Flakes. A little tilt of the box was all it took to awaken this mammoth from its slumber. Scientists have not yet studied the monolithic munch, but I am awaiting to be contacted about this as I am certain it holds much significance. I mean, clearly I was dealing with a man of culture. So I wrote back in kind. You can pause and read the entire thing here if you like, but in short, I said, "Good sir, what a splendid brand you have. Please consider $60 an acceptable sum for the transfer of custody of this magnificent specimen." And then I added a little bran flake graphic with sunglasses and a thumbs up to seal the deal. Iconic. Sadly, no deal was sealed and I was left on red, but I didn't give up that easily. Major Magics. Now, not everything you can buy on eBay is real, which sounds even more crazy when you say it out loud. And yet, this is the point where I discovered you can buy spells. Yep, genuine magic spells, according to the description, performed by an experienced practitioner of white magic. Apparently, this magic works a bit like a prayer, but costs $5 whole. So obviously, I had to try it out. After purchasing, my witch got in touch to ask what I wanted, and I had to think long and hard. Did I want love, vitality, eternal youth? Nah, I wanted that big bran flake. So I asked the witch to cast their magic and influence the seller of the big brand to accept my offer of $60, to prove to me that magic was real. Now, I feel like the most rational person would stall here and at least ask if I had suffered from some sort of head injury or maybe a stroke, but this witch didn't bat an eye. She replied, and I kid you not, I fully understand how the existence of the giant bran flake has led to your true understanding of magic and indeed the magical nature of the universe. What a blessing. It is my intention that my spell will enable you to take possession of the mystical cereal flake. And to prove they'd cast the spell, they sent me this picture. Oh baby. We got a candle, some crystals, some sort of Egyptian statuette, a fake candle with Christian iconography on it. Yeah, pure insanity. This is $5 well spent. Well, a few weeks passed and I heard nothing from the big brand seller. Then a few more weeks, still nothing. Then on January 7th, 2024, I got a notification. The giant bran flake had sold, but not to me, to someone else, for $38. I offered $60. What gives? So not only did my dope little brand icon fail to win over the seller, magic is also dead to me now. Old haunts. As weird as food and magic eBay may be, it's got nothing on haunted eBay. There are thousands of listings that claim to be selling cursed and possessed items. They're mainly creepy dolls or gothic trinkets, but some stand out, like Smoss here. Apparently, this little snowman plush is a guardian of the spirit world. Its description states he likes to find his way around by gliding through floors, walls, doors, and ceilings, and that you'll notice the air changing colder when he's about to appear to you. You know what? $30 feels remarkably cheap for an authentic spirit guardian. Let's put Smoss to the test. Just as I hit by, another haunted item was suggested to me. Another haunted box with panormal positive energy. Not paranormal, panormal. Having no idea what that was, I took a look at the description, which read, "The emotion that comes from this box is insane." And I felt some things in my time. Hoo boy. A paranormal box haunted with emotion? I figured maybe it helped my cold dead heart feel something, so I made an offer of $60 and got it. Having spent $90 on haunted items, was I done there? Absolutely not. A further look revealed this. Haunted not porcelain doll, but picture vessel. I love that the seller showing a picture of a picture had to in fact clarify it was a picture and not a doll, and no one thought it was. It also came with a weird story about a young girl who apparently bought the picture with her allowance who wasn't happy with how she looked. Genuinely, it reads, she thought she was ugly and thought she looked manly. Apparently she had no self-esteem and she liked reading until she became really unwell and slept a lot. I honestly have no idea what this is going on about, but for $5 I decided to buy the picture that was supposedly haunted by a depressed kid who just needed a nap. And with that I spent close to $100 on haunted items. Man, I can't believe I spent that much. So let's see what I actually got. Starting with an old slightly beat up wooden box promising emotions. Can't say I'm feeling anything. Maybe a little sad because I spent $50 on this. Let's open it up and wow! Smoss? Oh my god, how did he get in here? Did he move through the box just like the listing said he would? No. When everything arrived, I put him in here and just completely forgot. Well, he is a cute plush toy. Can't say I'm feeling any colder though. Maybe if I tuck him in and make him feel more at home, he'll start warming up, or technically cooling down, to me. While he's getting comfy, let's look at that final item. Okay, assuming there was anything real in that description, what child would buy this? How bad do your hilariously fake-sounding self-esteem issues have to be to purchase this, and then apparently haunted until the end of time? Ugh, never mind. Wait, Did these three curse me to lose the brand auction? Damn you, Box of Emotion, sad child and Smoss. Kinda hard to stay mad at Smoss though, he's just too cute. Best Pokemon cards ever. Pokemon cards are big business, and eBay sellers often auction off rare and even custom cards to the highest bidder. But as I was scrolling through them one day, I'm going to say unique listing caught my eye. It was apparently a set of Pokemon cards in custom packaging. The word custom is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, with these images showing a hilariously rough glitter paper sleeve with hand-drawn Pokeballs on them, which looked more like someone had a breakdown in a Hobby Lobby. It was filled with, well, not Pokemon cards, that's for sure. Although the description said otherwise and emphatically called them the best Pokemon set ever. You'd expect someone with conviction in that statement to be selling these for like $600, but for $6, you know, I had to see what this person had made. Sadly, almost as soon as I bought them, I was refunded. The reason? Apparently they were damaged. The cards, not the seller. Although, I guess they must have been emotionally damaged to list these in the first place. Ultimate taxidermy. Taxidermy is a pretty creepy form of preservation where animal skins are stuffed and posed to look like they're still alive. Some pose them naturally, but on eBay I found a seller posing them supernaturally. Yeah, you're looking at the single greatest item title I've ever seen. Taxidermy Witch Mole. It's a taxidermy mole with a little witch hat, cape, and even a tiny broom. I wanted to know more, but the description just read, Taxidermy Witch Mole. I mean, say no more, I need it. Only problem, this was an auction piece, and I was up against another bidder. With just 13 minutes left, the bids on this moly were up to $30. I knew I should stop, but I got it. And let me tell you, it's perfect. A little under 10 inches tall, the broom hat and cape on this fuzzy little oblong with these hilarious little paddle hands. Oh, can you imagine actually flying on that broom? How would it even hold it, let alone ride it? It doesn't matter, because as weird as it is, I love it. I might even make it the new mascot. Hey Bartholomew Egbert, say hello to your new buddy, Taxidermy Witch Mole. Hey, where are you going? Come back. Shock horror. Electroshock therapy, or ECT, is one of those old medical treatments that's got a pretty barbaric reputation. It's often depicted in films and TV as a kind of punishment, but in the real world it involves passing an electrical current through a patient's head to stimulate their brain. It's still used today, though it requires a lot of precise placement and medical know-how, which is why this eBay listing terrifies me. A Victorian electrotherapy shock machine medical antique. This doesn't feel like the sort of thing you should be able to buy without some serious checks in place. A look at the description reveals the seller thinks it's from sometime in the 1800s, which makes sense as this was around that time that electrotherapy devices were becoming popular. So either this thing is going to be too old to work, or I'm going to give myself some brain injuries. And all just for $30. Let's do this. Okay, so when this arrived, I was surprised at how heavy it was, considering it was only about 12 inches tall, and boy was it dusty. I'm tempted to believe it was from the 1800s purely from the amount of dust.
Let's open it up then. I don't know why I expected all the, what were they described as, attachments would come with some sort of guide. You know, considering this device is designed to deliver an electric shock to your body.
But I suppose that's a more modern expectation. I got everything out and tried my best to figure out what each thing did, and I attached wires from these handle things to the box. I threaded this thing through here. Yeah, I'm clearly lost, which, let's be honest, is probably a good thing. Otherwise, oh no, it's on! Just kidding, I'm fine. I'll be $30 poorer. Definitely not cursed photo album. I'm a pretty sentimental guy, so I keep a lot of photo albums from back in the day. They mean a lot to me, but I don't imagine they have much value to anybody else, which is where I might be wrong. All over eBay, people are selling vintage portrait and photo books, with some dating back to the 1800s. I assumed people wouldn't really want old photos of people in places that they have no context for, but I'm wrong, because some of these are going for as much as $100. I wanted to figure out what all the hype was about, so I bought one for $50. It came in this thick old leather binder with a cracked spine, so I was pretty hyped to see all the history inside. Oh wow, black and white landscape photos. That's kinda cool. Wait, hang on.
These pictures were apparently taken in 1954, yet their lack of image fading or any signs of wear and tear makes them seem like they were printed very recently.
Oh my god, was I sold a book of fake old photos? Yep, another flick through shows reprints of old landscape pictures hastily glued into the pages in varying degrees of quality. What a weird thing to fake. I feel robbed. World's Saddest Cookbook. The 1980s was a weird time, mainly because the rise of microwave cooking led publishers to release the saddest book ever made, according to this vintage listing on eBay, Microwave Cooking for One. 96 pages of what I assume to be pure depression. For $5, I was happy to find out what authentic loneliness tasted like. Okay, well, it arrived in good condition. A look at the bag reveals a picture of a cocktail, which, as far as I'm aware, is not something you cook nor something you microwave. So we're off to a great start. Let's have a flick through. Okay, honestly, I don't know what I was expecting. Most of these so-called recipes are just buy the thing, put in microwave, bon appetit. Okay, maybe I'm being too judgmental. Let's try a recipe. Here we go. Baked potato. Take potato, pierce several times. Put in microwave. Set timer between 4 and 6 minutes. Then remove potato from microwave. What the? How the hell did that get in there? And where's my potato? I guess this is what you get when you buy and insult a bunch of haunted objects. Great. Dreadlocks. Did you know you can give your hair to charity? Yeah, like this incredible kid who had her hair cut off and then donated it to a charity who washes and processes it before making it into wigs for sick kids. That's pretty inspiring. You know what's less inspiring? Selling your own hair on eBay. Yeah, I really didn't want this listing to be real because, for one, it was a handful of dreadlocks that were described as used. Ugh. And two, well, they were $107. But hey, this was one of the weirder things I'd found this year, so I bought them. And a pair of gloves. I'm not an idiot. They arrived and oh, nothing quite says used like coming in a second-hand plastic bag. Let's open them up. Okay, can't lie, these are much bigger than I thought they were in the listing. Guess I got my $107 worth of dread in more ways than one. They were clean, I think. There was a lot of gray specks, which, now that I think about it, may have been dry skin and dandruff caught in the hairs. Okay, that's enough. Back in the bag and into the trash with you. Crunchy candy. Alright, time for a Be Amazed first. I'm finally venturing into the world of autonomous sensory meridian response videos, also known as ASMR. Why? Because back in October when I was looking for Halloween candy, I got suggested a link to some freeze-dried Skittles from an eBay seller. If you don't know, the process of freeze-drying involves freezing a food and then lowering the pressure, which essentially dehydrates the food without cooking it. Of course, water expands when it's frozen, which means that when you freeze-dry food, like Skittles for example, they look weird. And for $6, this seems like the perfect foodstuff to eat sensually into the microphone, like all the YouTube ASMR pros do. Okay, mic gain up. Whisper activated. Let's open these up. Okay, they don't smell all that different, which makes sense as they're just dehydrated. They feel hard but weirdly light, so let's try one. The crunch. I can't tell whether I like it or despise it. I don't think me or my mic are cut out for ASMR. Anyway, I tried a few more and I gotta say these really stick to your teeth. More so than hydrated Skittles, I think. But I do like them. Huh. I might need to buy another packet of these. Your own personal demon. Most of us work to get rid of our demons, but over on eBay you can buy them apparently. Sold ominously as a mummified demon fetus, this is, well, just that. The description just said one-of-a-kind demon fetus in a little wooden box, so I have questions. First, this can't be real, surely, and second, who goes around buying demon fetuses? Well, me, I guess, but that's besides the point. Look, for $60, I just had to see what this really was. So when it arrived, I have to say I didn't realize what it was at first. The little wooden box had some twine around it, along with a little heart charm. Opening the lid revealed some pink tissue paper, which I thought was quite cute, until I saw the horror hidden within. Yeah, this ain't right. But it also ain't real. The resin on the outside made me think this so-called demon was probably a craft project, but how could I be sure? Simple. I smashed it open. Unless demons are typically made of clay, then I'd say this is a fake. If it's not, well, I'm sure Smoss can protect me from whatever wrath I've just invoked. Big Chungus. If you're as terminally online as I am, you probably know the Big Chungus meme. It's a chunky version of Bugs Bunny titled Big Chungus, which is just a meme that makes me laugh. At least I thought it was a meme because it turns out you can buy the Big Chungus PS4 game on eBay. Look, it made me laugh, and for $23 I just wanted to see what this really was. I assumed it would be a poor quality craft project like the Pokemon cards, but when it arrived I was incredibly surprised. At a glance, this thing looks like it could have been a real game. Whoever made it edited Big Chungus into the screenshots of other games for the back cover and gave it a full blurb. Ha! It's even rated M for Big Chungus. There was sadly no actual game inside because Big Chungus was only ever a meme. But in terms of quality, this is probably the best joke item I've ever bought, and I bought a lot of things from Wish.com. Mystery Box. They say curiosity killed the cat, but they may soon say curiosity killed Be Amazed, because I came across this listing. A mystery box filled with 10 plus mystery items. There's something about a battered box with a fragile tape that just screams danger to me. Could be knives, live mice, a head, who knows? So for $26, I decided to quench my curiosity. When it arrived, it helpfully had Mystery Box written on top. I could only imagine my delivery man was as curious as I was. Let's open it up. What have we here? Okay, a DVD, an iPad keyboard, more sealed DVDs and CDs, more DVDs, tape, headphones, and ooh, a Warhammer magazine. And finally, a screen protector and a book. Okay, so not a head. Man, I've been watching too many old movies. Luckily, I now have all these new movies to help with that. Strange shuffling. Playing cards come in a lot of different designs. Some, like these inspired by the TV show Breaking Bad, or these from an investment company. Okay, a little odd, but absolutely none even come close to the set I found on eBay. These are, and I can't quite believe I'm saying this, the official U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency's 2003 most wanted members of President Saddam Hussein's government. Playing cards. Apparently, these were issued to battlefield troops during the Iraq War back in 2003. However, this eBay seller says they make a great gift for your friends and family. Okay, well, I don't know if my friends and family would appreciate a playable hit list from over 20 years ago, but let's grab a bag just to double check that this is real. Well, they arrived. However, it was so old that when I tried to open it, the glue failed and the box came apart in my hands. No matter, let's take a look at some of these. You know, there's something about having faceless cards in this deck that feels like it defeats the purpose of them. I thought this was a joke, so I did some research, and yes, these were an actual thing the US government commissioned for release, with more than 1.5 million sold. Well, it's time to do a Saddam shuffle. That's a really good joke if you're familiar with early 2000s American terminology around the Iraq invasion. Okay, this sounds like the most controversial item I bought, but trust me, I've saved the best, or technically the worst, for last. Organic goods. So while a lot of the stuff I've bought is pretty silly, there was one listing I came across that stopped me dead in my tracks. It was for bones. Human bones, apparently from old Victorian anatomical studies. Now, eBay has some very, very strict rules in place explaining it does not under any circumstances allow the sale of human body parts, excluding hair, obviously, so I did not think for a minute this was real. I mean, it was listed multiple times as genuine human bones. eBay wouldn't have allowed an item with that title to be listed in the first place if they were real, surely. So curious, I bought one for $45. Now, initially, I thought this was a complete scam because I didn't receive anything for weeks. But then the seller messaged me to say his wife had sent the package and had accidentally declared there were real human remains in there, so it got sent back to them. Whatever, I was fairly certain it was just some super weird scam and thought nothing more of it. Then a tiny little package arrived, so I opened it and, okay. At first I thought it was a weird rock, but then looking at the shape and the texture, I think this is a vertebrae. I mean, I've not really looked at a real human vertebrae before, but this looks pretty old and pretty real. It's also got little holes in it where I think it was once strung up as part of an anatomical skeleton model, if that seller's description is anything to go by. So I've gone from thinking I was scammed to being super weirded out. Thanks, eBay. Great safeguarding there. Which of these crazy eBay finds did you think was the weirdest? And do you want to see me risking my life buying more unpredictable items that may or may not be haunted? Let me know down in the comments below, and thanks for watching.